Okay, well, I guess we're testing this out to see how well this works. Cool, you can see it. Delayed. Nice. Cool beans, cool beans. Well, anyway, let's see what happens when I click follow. Do I get an alert of sorts? No, I got nothing. I'll have to set that up. Okay. All right, well, anyway, this morning I wanted to check out a couple things before I started drawing. iPad's sitting here charging anyway. Poor thing doesn't really last very long anymore. Maybe like 2 hours and then it starts pooping out. One day I'll get a new one, but that day's not today. Anyway, let's put on some music or something. It's very quiet. All right. And a little loud though for me. Wonderful. Anyway, let's two things I wanted to scrub through. In the morning, I always like looking through stuff and just kind of seeing, you know what? It's kind of weird with music right now. How do I? You guys can listen to music in the background while I don't. Anyway, I love going through in the morning and just seeing what's new on ArtStation. Always so many different things. It always gets the creative juices flowing. Of course, the marketplace, it's always boobies, but I mean, I have thousands of reference images myself like that. Multiple huge packs, bought so many over the years. That's probably stuff I'll stream. Plenty is figure drawing, but for now, I'll just be looking through, and then probably doing Marvel Rivals, like I said. So let's go by 2D stuff. Is there a way to hashtag? Oh, there's a way to. There we go. 2D right now. Thank you. What are we looking at? What are we looking at today? I keep seeing this guy. What do we got? Raphael Benguet Mosaz. Okay. Lies. It's 3D, but I'll take it. Is that like a little. Oh. That's cute. Not quite sure. I understand that. Maybe I'm old and I don't know what those are. I thought it was sleeping. Ooh. Old school Loki. Very like original Norse. Looks like heavily like vibes of painting. Painting process. Oh, here we go. Shadow paths, light colors. I love how like literally halfway through usually any process video you see of anybody, right? Like any high level artist, you'll see the process video and they're cruising along and you'll see rough sketch. Well, I mean, that's pretty clean sketch. So you'll see like line work, usually shadows, colors dropped onto that. And then usually like right here at the halfway point, you could say that's done. Like any normal person, like yes, is this better? 100%. But it's crazy thinking that like by this point, it's just fine tuning. You're not doing anything crazy. You're not doing, you're not reinventing the wheel here. It is just micro steps of better, better, better. And I feel like we all can relate to that kind of stuff where you just keep making it more and more intense. But like really, you're not doing that much different. And I feel like we all will. I know I do. I sit there and I'll be there for hours, barely making changes, and wonder where the time went. I always love this like semi-realistic energy, but like those anime big eyes. Very. Oh, well, there we go again. I like this a lot. This style. Some good stuff. What else do you have? I'm a follow. Very clean stuff. Still in 2D. Very cool. Huh. A sucker for Helldivers. Was this fan art? Okay. Looks like a massive painting, but I was gonna say it looks different. It looks 3D, and it definitely is. Be paint over or not you? Are these in-game models? It looks like probably. I wonder if this person actually modeled all of these, or if these are actually just pulled from the game assets. It's in Blender. I feel like a lot of stuff in Blender is pulled from the source files themselves. Okay. Reminds me, I just bought, so there are Mythic Legions. There we go. Ninian Infantry. These guys, so friggin' cool. Is there a Big Bag Toy Store link? No, these are all directly from. But so these guys, ooh, they were exclusive to Legions Con this past year now. Gosh, it's 2025. And I've got a shelf. Well, shelves everywhere in the house. But there's one shelf here where there's a pretty empty, barren shelf. And I wanted it to be like dope anthropomorphic creatures. So right now I only have a Wukong, and the other one is, I can't remember his name. I think it's Blade Master Wang. He's like a giant, like feudal samurai tiger. And he's got like a giant Naginta as a weapon. Looks dope. And I've been wanting to get more creatures. This guy saw that Toy Bro, shout out to Toy Bro, did a clean review of them. I fell in love immediately. These are the coolest looking things for me to fit on that shelf. And if you don't know with Mythic Legions, what they do is you can pop pieces off and hot swap. So like people can make multiple snake men out of one or two snake men, because you can take off the armor, you can pop off the legs. They come with, I think they came with 2 alt heads, or is it just 2 heads total? What is it? Does it say how many additional heads? 2 additional heads, 1 mouth open, 1 mouth closed. So you could technically make a bunch of different like snake men with different armor and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of like Legion builders where they have base armor and stuff like that. But if you pop on like some normal legs onto him, it looks like he's just wearing armor on his lower legs. But then if you take an alt head and pop it onto the torso of an armored figure and then put the legs on him, boom, now you've got another Snake Man. But yeah, all this to say, I ordered 2. My grandma every year gives me money for Christmas, and I try and save it, obviously, toss it in the bank to save, but I do always like getting something fun for myself. And so I caved and I got 2 of these guys. Probably didn't need any of them, but shipping is basically the same price when you're going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. They've got flat rate $10 shipping anyway. Or like if you don't choose flat rate with one figure, it's $8.50. Feel like I'm losing out if I don't spend more. They get me. Bam. I got them. So cool. I can't wait to get these. Part of me wishes I bought 3. 3 was the limit. Anyway, so that's what seeing this guy definitely reminded me of those. Okay. Anyway, the one thing I wanted to look at before doing anything, before drawing, before playing with some Jeff designs and seeing what he looks like, I wanted to see this. Marvel Rivals. Excuse me, new trailer. I need to pop headphones on, make sure this is... my monitor's only 1080p. I don't have to worry about much other than that. Anyway, pop on my crappy little earbud right now because I don't feel like wearing my big headphones. Immediately give it a like, and let's see. So we know it's Fantastic Four. Don't know much beyond that. Those bats look dope. Is that supposed to be the evil Doctor Strange voice? Because I know we're getting... doesn't matter. Or is it Null? Is this supposed to be Null? Probably not with the bats. But I know we've got Clintar. Huh. January 10th. You can bet your butt I'll be playing that. Playing the crap out of it. All right. Always my favorite part when I don't know a character. Is it just Dracula? That's what I thought. This is Marvel Dracula. I know we've got... no, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I was gonna say Shikla is the other. Shikla is similar vibe. All right, cool. Mess around with Dracula. Wonder if he'll be playable or just kind of a... be surprised if he's not playable. We only have a couple villains though right now, not too many. Like true, I feel like Hela is one of the only true villains. We've got Loki, we've got Magneto. A lot of those guys kind of flip-flop. There's an old show called oh my goodness. Ooh. Old show called... what the hell is that show called with like Disney with fairy tale characters? Once Upon a Time, I think, right? Man, I am missing. Whoop, weird Facebook stuff might be, and email stuff might be. I can't open directly. Once Upon a Time show. Yeah, Once Upon a Time. There's one of the characters was Rumpelstiltskin. And I always now, whenever my brain thinks of anything, because in that show, like the lore, he is both good and bad, kind of. He just plays all sides. But my brain always just associates flip-flopping characters as Rumpelstiltskins. So he's a Rumpelstiltskin. But yeah, looking at even here, the loading screen, like, yeah, Venom too. We've got Venom. Yeah, are these all the characters? Venom, Magneto, and Loki basically are the main primary flip-floppers. Hela's pretty usually consistently bad, but then you've got other characters that flip-flop too. But like, yeah, no like super duper villain energy, which would be interesting to get some true villains. Like I know we're probably going to get Ultron. With Fantastic Four, odd we're getting Dracula instead of Doctor Doom. Especially with Fortnite, they had the Doombot collaboration. So we saw Doombot before, but not really much in the game. But whatever. Anyway, we're already, what is this, 20 minutes in the stream, and I haven't even opened up my iPad. So let me get it set up real quick because I had it downstairs. I switch a lot between up here I've got it on a little stand in my case, and then downstairs I've got it on naked in a sketchboard, which I absolutely love. So the goal is to eventually get a new iPad and a new sketchboard, the Sketchboard Pro 2, where it's got a little bit more oomph to it. But for now, we don't. For now, I'm stuck with this old iPad from 7 years ago. I think we're rocking at this point. It's kind of old. Luckily, it was an iPad Pro, so it's not like it was a junk one in the beginning, but definitely showing its age, but that's okay. So how are we going to get this going? So mainly what today I wanted to do was look at Jeff, look at the art style of Marvel Rivals, and kind of see the difference between Jeff, the land shark in Rivals versus Jeff in comic books. So I'm going to cruise through, look around a handful of stuff. So I guess while we're looking now, I can pull up some reference, look at some things. And I keep forgetting I need to close that. Let's look at Marvel Rivals Jeff versus Marvel Comics Jeff. Jeff the land shark, not Jeff the shark. Autocorrect. Foolish. Is this? Oh, a fan edit. Oh God, of course, the weird transitions. Oh, the internet. Oh, the internet. Anyway, so looking back here, we can see, what do we got? So I feel like when we're looking at both designs, he is both Blob and Blob in every form, which is consistent. But if we break that form down a little further, he's literally just a big old circle, right? Yeah. Big old circle. Big old circle. Itty bitty feet. Big old circle. He's more oval, I guess we can look at. He's a little more hot dog. A little hamburger. Comic books hamburger. Video games hot dog. Just stretched out a little bit, which makes sense. Transitioning something from 2D to 3D definitely need it to be a little more realistic. So as a 3D artist myself, I've taken a lot of designs and translated them from, a flat image to a 3D image. And it's definitely not as easy as people think. Your brain just says, oh yeah, you just turn it into 3D. Some people even think it's as simple as like a button. Definitely not. Definitely not. But one of the interesting things is trying to not do it directly. So I've had so many concept artists who will draw stuff for me, and it does not. If you were to sit down and break it down, you're like, that doesn't make sense. Why would this be here when this is here? Like, pieces don't always connect. So it's usually been my job to look at and say, okay, well, I get the vibe, right? And how can we turn that vibe into reality, which is usually a lot of finagling. But anyway, back to Jeffrey. Jeffrey the land sharkery. So he's always got a little lump, right? I kind of like that. That on him is that, I don't know if that's, okay, so it's supposed to be part of his, like the fin, the back fin, that is visible, but I like that it comes out. So here it looks like an actual fin, right? But if we look, there's another one we were just looking at. Was it like a connection of one of these others? This one here. So this looks like a fold, right? So they're using that fin as also like a way of looking like a cartoony fold, which I kind of like the idea of folding his tail a little bit anyway. But yeah, super clean, simple eyes on both designs, right? There's black dots. They're Funko Pop eyes. Funko Pop eyeballs, whatever. They're eyes of Funko Pops, which frankly are hideous. I do have a couple of Funko, and by a couple I mean way too many. But generally they're ones that have specifically, you know, not dead eyes. Or supposed to be dead eyes. Okay, look at this little chunker. So again, if we see just a big circle. Big circle. Big circle. Still almost an exact circle. Whereas this one's definitely stretched out. He looks more like a pug. Which makes sense to make him an actual dog. He's just basically a pug. He's got more of like a rump, a little butt, where if you look at most of the comic book ones here, he doesn't have a butt. It just goes right into tail, right? Whoop, right, like his legs flow into the back. It's mainly just a head. Whereas, yeah, mainly the head. Obviously, these angles, the tail's not super visible. But it's interesting that then, to make him more real, they said, what if we give him a butt? Which makes sense. Yeah, definitely more of hindquarters on the 3D model to make it more real. Which I probably would have done the same if I was designing that. I don't know how else you'd make that realistic. Okay, cool. Well, if we were to start drawing stuff, let's start up a new file over here. What do we got? 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to preface by saying I don't draw like this. And by this, I mean on this stand. I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see. It's like a metal bracket. I said this iPad's busted, and then I almost just cracked the hell out of the screen. Anyway, note to self, not gonna do that. Holding it up like this with my finger touching it. It's like a laptop stand that I got, and I tried to adjust it to fit the iPad. And so I've got my magnetic case, which when angled down, magnetically holds it, when apparently lifting it up and flipping around like a crazy person doesn't. So what I mean by that is I normally use my sketchboard, which is a big thing. I'm usually on the couch. Oh man, and when I'm on the couch, I pull it up, have it in different forms, different angles. I've got it all over. But here it's tiny and in a little spot. So I feel very awkward with it. So this is going to be a learning process here with everybody as I learn to draw on it in this position as well. I do have my, what is this? Nope. Boop. I do have in my office the, my big Cintiq and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately here, that's in a different room. This is the office I have right now. So I've got a game room and an office. I've got, in the game room here, I've got the lights, the camera, the microphone, all these things. Whereas in the office, it's just a singular webcam and nothing great to record on. So the goal is to eventually get recording stuff in there so I can have maybe art shown in here, or art shown in there, games shown in here. That way I can stand up. It's a nice desk. Stand up, do all my stuff with my uplift with my nice Cintiq, and not be constrained to be sitting on my butt here on the computer down in the game room, which looks dope, but kind of awkward to draw on. And like I said, it'll take some getting used to for sure from me to draw on something like this. So if we just start shaping things out, right? So let's just use, can we pop this guy visible? Man, that is little. Let's crank it up and pop it in front of the iPad so you guys can kind of see. I will work with better designs for this later, I guess. I'm not quite sure how to better format it without the iPad screen just looking really tiny. That's a problem for another day. For now, we'll be kicking like this. So if I open it bigger, we can kind of maybe see, kind of view image. Open image in new tab. Boom. Okay. So we all can see that. Same size as me. Blurry as hell on my side. Don't know about you guys. Anyway, over. Why is it got... I didn't even notice it got Bash and Diva and Tracer back there. Anyway, so if we're breaking down the shape here, right? So if we look at Jeff in game form, right? Jeff is big ball, right? Per head. But he's also, what is this? Like more of an oval for the body. Like I said, think of him as the hot dog, whereas in the comics, he's more hamburger. I say as someone who doesn't eat red meat, I basically just eat chicken. And by basically, I mean, I just eat chicken and protein powder. But anyway, so we got hot dog, little body, not much going on, and then giant ass head. So the head too is interesting because he's got actual cutaways for the eyes. Whereas I feel like, and by cutaway, I mean like the shape breaks the form, right? Here it is an eyeball to the cheek in this spot here. Like if we look, like it's something like this where you've got a break. So we've got head, eye, socket, and then the eye, like the cheek kind of starts continuing. Also with art, as I'm sure anybody who does art would know, don't go into details too much. That's me zooming in, should never zoom in that much. But just showing to make a point, should never zoom in this early. I was trying to block down shapes. I'm going to quickly color this because it looks weird with any sort of, I don't know what eraser I have, but that's just a basic eraser right now. Anyway, he's got a wide nose, and it looks like the nose is constructed basically by the color break. So it's an illusion of the color break within his gray to white, which I've got one of my friends, she is a massive whale, dolphin, all that kind of stuff. She loves whales though. Orcas in particular. And I actually went to school and lived with a guy for a while. One of my roommates, he was into marine biology and stuff and worked with all that kind of stuff. So anybody smarter than me out there in terms of aquatic life. Does this have a name? This guy. Like the transition from one color to the other. Because I feel like in a lot of like, especially dolphins and whales, that's a pronounced feature. And I'd imagine science gives names to everything, right? So I would hope it has a name. Someone could tell me and I would forget it, but that's fine. But anyway, so this isn't looking great because one, I don't draw in this form ever. I'm trying to keep posture. But like this is way too, like he's got way more of a jowl, right? That double chin going on. Well, let's just mass erase this because this is not vibing. He's looking more Rio or lizard-like right now. So he's got like a super rounded here. So if his mouth is open and tongue hanging out, let's say, blah, blah, blah. Teeth, 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 teeth. And then his eyes are kind of like the traditional shape where it's a little, so longer top, a break here. So normally you've got a little bit higher. And in that shape, kind of, but it looks actually like, oh God, forgot I had the massive eraser. Kind of looks, again, don't mind me. I've got this old iPad. It keeps lagging. One day, we'll have a cleaner setup. But for now, as I'm getting used to streaming, I'm working with what I got instead of getting new equipment. And nobody got money for that in this economy. Or as one of my favorite streamers, Jam, huge fighting game fan. If you couldn't tell by the arcade cabinet behind me and fighting game posters and art all around. Me, for my money, I'm not buying a new iPad. Boop. Jeff. Cool. Also, he's kind of flat-headed, the video game Jeff, no? He's got like a little flat top, little lump for the brow ridge, flat lump down. And then, I don't always see that. What's cute about him is that they decided to give him a massive, massive leash, which everybody associates. Obviously, if you have a leash, your brain says, oh, dog. Like, yes, do cats have leashes? Yeah. But with a big name tag like this, it's a giant dog tag, right? So I love the fact that they said, how do we differentiate him and make him feel like a dog? And most people's brain, when they think of dogs, they've got a collar on, right? So easy way to give some visual, like a tie-in, right? An easy tie-in. With art, we look for like, what's an easy way to convey an idea? Like, without needing to do much. What's something that is immediately readable? Dog tag, dog. So there you go. Not a bad idea. I like it. And his fin is pretty small. I feel like in this game, in the game form, we see more giant head and his big puppy dog eyes, right? Really trying to push those puppy dog eyes, I feel like, in the video game, which makes sense given the readability. So in the game, you've only got so much time to quickly see the shape and understand it. Whereas in a comic, you've got, breathing room to kind of understand what you're looking at. But in the video game, you just want to have like what am I looking at? I'm looking at big old puppy dog eyes with a big old leash or collar, which would mean dog. Adorable Jeffrey dog. Until he uses his ultimate, eats your entire team, and you cuss him out for the next 5 minutes because of his broken hitboxes. Or maybe you don't do that, and that's just me, and I've got a problem. But I'm sure it's not just me. Come on. He's a menace. An adorable menace. But not really. Not the higher ranks you get. Higher ranks, you're looking at Mantis. Mantis and Luna Snow. Luna Snow is a character. Ooh, yeah, he's got, so if we're looking here, design-wise, and negative space, still I don't have a lot of negative space under. He's got like this really rounded out belly. I think that's their way. So if you remember in the comic book imagery, he's got like a big connection always, right? He's always kind of this ball shape and his mouth really connects down. And I think even though they put that collar here, they want to keep that shape, which makes sense. So what we can do is let's just kind of take this bad boy, whoop, and can we just rotate it? a little bit to make it feel, nope, that rotation looks dumb then. How about we warp it a little so it just has a little bit more space for his like under jaw, like his jowl to shine. Not a whole lot, but enough. So something like that, right? Good enough. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to analyze his shape and figure out kind of what the differences are. So what I plan on doing with most of my time then is to draw on Twitch, right? Let's draw, let's chill, let's look at some art and get better, and also not break my collarbone in this weird position as I'm trying to draw on this iPad. Oh my gosh, I need better posture here. Buzz Lightyear. But once I have the breakdowns, I kind of want to then make, that's going to be the content for the YouTube. So the plan is to make sketching here, drawing stuff out, and then maybe use the drawings as B-roll when I break down the characters in a YouTube video. That's just for now, though. I want to make stuff on art in general, not just Marvel Rivals, but let's be real. Marvel Rivals is popular as hell. Justifiably so, because I absolutely love the game. Honestly, I'm drawing right now, and I'm enjoying this, but if I wasn't drawing, you know what I'd like to be doing right now? Spoiler alert. Is playing Marvel Rivals. The game's so fun. And that looks stupid now. That looks weird. When in doubt, erase the whole thing out. So it cuts to a point and then gets really, what if we just curve it? Why does that still look so weird? I see. So if we're looking at the screen right now, so let's look up at that Jeff up there. So it cuts and it actually starts going down above the mouth. And so what I was doing was having it go down past that. And so that shape just started looking weird. Okay. Again, for our purposes of right now, I think that's fine enough. Name tag or dog tag. And this guy is even smaller because it doesn't break the... But anyway, so little dorsal, is that the name? Dorsal fin, right? The back one. Again, I need some marine biologists in here. Hit me with the knowledge, please. I don't have much. I know fish. That's it. Is fish. Okay, so big ol' colorful break there. Curve it. Boop. Boop. Chief. My name's Chief. That looks stupid, but that's fine. And then like we talked about, he's just this weird little hot dog then. So if we adjust our hot dog shape a little bit for the adjusted scale of his head that I made, he's got just a little butt. And then his whole front half basically coming from maybe his mouth here is just leg, more or less. So leg, he doesn't have much in way of feet other than maybe a couple, like the toes sticking out, but it's not like he's got like noticeable foot anatomy. It's just kind of like an elephant foot. Honestly, kind of looks like he's got like elephant legs with a shark body, which I guess if you're just going with gray, that's an easy, lazy way of connecting it. And our brain says, makes sense. So anyway, stumpy little elephant legs. No real toe differentiation too much needed on the game version, because it looks like he's just, it's a testament to the art style of the game, the rendering of the mats and stuff, that it's so heavily line based that like we lose if we look like the inner shadows of his toes, kind of lose them in the game anyway, because the outline is a little more important. So one of the things, let's show liquefy, right? Jackie Drushko, love her stuff, right? Liquefy tool saves everything, right? She's taught us that. If there's one thing I've learned from Jackie. When in doubt, pull your liquid out. Let's not work with that. Let's workshop it. Jackie, you can think of a better one, please, because I feel like I'll get demonetized for a statement like that. But anyway, boom, right there. Pulled him out a little bit better. Feels a little better. Also, one of the things is this eye has too much visibility. So if we cut this eye space in a little bit more, I feel like that eye was looking way too big. Now his eyes feel wider apart. Can make them feel even wider apart by, pulling it out a little more. Yeah, that's better. Now he's got those derpy wide set eyes that are really dumb, but also unbelievably endearing. So his body literally connects from body, neck to arm, right? So we just see the collar to the arm. This foot is not very flat. That's fine. His other leg is something like that. Boop. Man, the negative space here is not good again. Oh well, learning to draw on the fly, on Twitch, in a position I don't normally draw. Come on, give me some credit, all right? Yeah, that looks really dumb though. I'm gonna wipe this bad boy off the face of the iPad. So let's look at where connection points are and why that was looking weird. So the collar actually connects in this visual. Again, don't need to do this copy by copy like I am, but since I'm practicing getting better with the iPad and on this orientation, might as well. So it looks like it actually goes, it pulls a little flat and then curves a little stronger. So flatter, stronger, curves. And then this shape continues and actually cuts right about there. Let's continue this hot dog shape. So we've got a visual a little better of where his butt will be and legs will eventually be. And then the tail kind of goes lower. So he really hot dogs out like a little bean shape. Hot out, and then makes a tail like that. And his tail in here has that little fin, little lilt there, pop down. Egg. I like doing these, right? For kneecaps and joints. Just a little, it's the ampersand base, or not the ampersand, the, that, right? Think of it as like, I call them just at symbol for the knees, but like reverse. So like if you've got like a hand shape, right? And you've got, what is this? Like you've got thumb here. Ooh, and you've got fingers, right? You got your fingers like this. Oopsie. What I like to do is a lot of people will draw like double lines or something like that. Or like, that's fine and dandy. But nothing beats the at symbol, right? Hit him with one of those. Hit him with one of those. Obviously, that looks stupid in the context of just a giant ass hand. But at symbols, at joints, because I mean, really, when you look at your fingers, they do like have all those creases, and at the rounded shape, it kind of curves it all back. But anyway, let's get rid of that giant hand that looks like it was about to, oh, it was about to pet Jeff. That's back, not smack him in that booty. Anyway, so we got little round boy Jeff. Curve that down a little because it looked a little too. Then his knees break a little too high here. Boop. At symbol. Get the idea of where the knee is. little leg, and then feet. Boop, boop, boop. Adorable. Adorable, chunky back leg. He's got like hamstring, strong hamstring into butt, which makes sense. That little guy's jumping, swimming, kicking. Gotta be strong. Gotta get them strong legs. It looks so little. What if he didn't have front legs? What is this abomination of Jeff with only back legs? Kind of creepy. You can see why the artists at NetEase set, or more or less Marvel in the original iteration of Little Jeffrey, they said, let's give him 4 legs, because 2 kind of looks... I'm not going to say what shape it reminds me of, but 2 big things in the back and 1 long tube in the middle. Definitely gives different energy. Less cute dog, more... What's the there's the difference between harassment versus flirting, right? 4-leg Jeff is flirting. 2-leg Jeff, I gotta talk to HR. Okay. Boop, boop. I'm not like breaking down the rival style right now. I'm just breaking down the shapes, because the style is a whole other ballgame that is absolutely stunning and something that requires way more time. And I will probably do a video on, like a produced video with actual editing and stuff, not just me cruising through drawing pictures on the internet. But yeah, so we got Jeff. Give him a big ol'... So this guy actually cuts over in here. He's so chubby that you don't even get to see his knee, like the actual exterior point. So this cuts through completely in this. Obviously, there's more negative space here in the original drawing, or in the original art. So let's cut that foot back a little bit more so it feels like that energy. So it feels a little bit more cut back. Okay, that works. Whoop, whoop. And then we can just get rid of that. Allude to the foot there, though. So keep that little guy like that for his other back leg. Little chunker. In the front. Boop. And he's got like, he doesn't have a thumb necessarily, but he does. And I feel like if we look at the designs in 3D here, he always does have like a flap, but then little guy sticks out, which again makes sense for him to balance. Dogs have thumbs. Technically, they're just, the back. But yeah. So if we do that and then just throw on a front leg, right? We're getting too nitty gritty here. I don't really care. We're just trying to get the visual vibe. So he's got chunky little feet. That's all we need to know. Chunky feet, chunky legs. Jeff. Again, what did Jackie say, right? Liquefy. When in doubt, wet it out. Oh, let's not pull his face. His face looks weird. Let's make it a little smaller here. But let's shape this butt a little more. He's more stout, right? So if we pull the shape in, something like that. Close enough-ish. Still not perfect. I think the takeaway is they really make his head big. Like really, really friggin' big. And that's something that my drawing and my interpretation didn't quite grab yet. So that's why we need to stretch this bad boy. Ooh, it's getting pretty wide set eyes then. Little too much. Gee. Ooh, that foot got kind of wonky. Anyway, we get the gist. Tail's a little big. I love just erasing a chunk, grabbing the other chunk and swapping it down a little bit and then reconnecting. Then it's all sketches. Doesn't matter. Whoop. And whoop. So now for fun, since we are here today with just drawing Jeff in 1,000 different ways. Got alerted that those toys I ordered earlier today, the order went through. Phew, good job. Thank you for toys. Okay, so my collarbone is feeling weird. Not surprising. So let's see if I can adjust this weird little stand. Let's use the keyboard as like a counterbalance. Something like this is better. Maybe. Can you guys? Okay, so the voice is still coming through fine. So if we look at my brushes here, I've gone through, I've bought hundreds of brushes. I've, supported a lot of artists that make some cool stuff, but then I've also gone through and made my own. I'll make my own. I'll take stuff that they've made and tweak it to how exactly I like it. But here on the iPad, I haven't drawn in Photoshop in a long time. Mainly because Photoshop and Adobe suck, but my bad. The biggest thing here is I have the sketching brushes, which this brush right here, sketching, 90% of what I do is just with this. Like if I'm not finally doing anything, like doing any clean stuff, it's just this brush over and over and over and over. If it's bigger, you can see kind of the grain to it, right? And then if you sideways it, you get it like as if it's an actual pencil, which is nice to replicate for reals. We're back on the other layer. I don't understand why undo, Procreate. Why does undo, like if I were to turn on and off a layer visibility or add a layer, undo follows like literally every physical click you do. Oh, Josiah, what's up, man? I'm sitting here trying to stream for one of the first times actually after years back at this, and I was just drawing Jeff for fun, getting back in the swing of things here. But yeah, so I was just going through some random crap. How's it going over there with you, man? All right, in the content page or whatever, like where we self promo kind of vibes, is that what you're talking about? Dope, sounds good. So you're cruising Discord and streams instead of playing games on your day off, man. Gotta get that Marvel Rivals in. I've been I've been hard stuck gold, man. I cannot make it to plat, which is embarrassing as hell in a game like this. Like I've been playing shooters my whole life. Here I played Overwatch like nobody's business, and yet here I am in Rivals solo queuing and being like, I cannot get anything done. But yeah, Iron Fist is dope. The fact that he can basically fly kinda pisses me off, not gonna lie. When I'm all of a sudden getting caught by, Boeing 717 Iron Fist just soaring through the skies. As someone who plays tanks and support, flanking isn't fun when you're me. Because you just get hit and then you've got nobody else that peels. I feel like nobody peels in solo queue, at least in lower ranks, to actually help the supports in the back. But, you know, that's why I want to get out of friggin' elo hell of gold and stuff. It just is not a fun place. Have you been playing ranked, or you just do solo, or do you just do casual with like your buddies and stuff? Jeff has like a million teeth. Ugh. Dude, cross platform sucks. Like, I hate that they don't have that as an opt-in option, because one of my best buddies, he plays on Xbox, whereas like all of us, me and my other friends, we all play on PC. But he commits to the Xbox ecosystem despite having a PC, mind you, right next to him, but his wife uses it and stuff, so he'd just rather play on his Xbox. But like, he's the one I'd like to do ranked with, but because he is on an Xbox, I'm really hoping they give like an opt-in option at some point, but I kind of have a feeling they seem pretty committed to not doing that. But oh well. Or at least cross-platform. The fact that it's not cross progression. Like, if there's cross progression, then it's like, okay, you can hop on, do your thing at least on the PC here and there. My buddies can, but like, to be locked into the console ecosystem sucks. But yeah, like I was saying, man, Jeff has a lot of teeth. So earlier we were looking at the difference. So basically, we're looking at the difference between like Jeff here and then also like comic iteration Jeff, to see like the style difference between them. And I love the cartoon one's got like, count on one hand basically how many teeth he has on most images, whereas this guy's got a whole crap ton. Like the actual like multi-layered shark tooth where you've got the two rows and everything. Oh, what's the oh man, what is the Billy Madison, right? No, oh my gosh, I'm getting them mixed up. The Water Boy. Holy crap, the Water Boy with Adam Sandler, with the when he's in school in Louisiana or whatever, and the professor asks, about the shark, and he's like, Mama said sharks are angry all the time because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush. Maybe that's Jeff, but his teeth look pretty damn clean. I'm stoked for the new Happy Gilmore too. The fact that they've actually got a new one coming like that, that's golden. I grew up watching Adam Sandler stuff. My dad was that was like his jam. Oh, those double rows look dumb. His jam was Adam Sandler. So like I grew up with that all the time. Like we had The Wedding Singer, Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, all that stuff on. Like, if you half the time, if you just went in the TV room, it very high chance you saw Adam Sandler on the TV if my dad was in there. So getting a new one from him that's not just like some random crap, but like an actual continuation one of those classics is I'm all for that. Percent. Yeah, I've got my I'm almost done now with my coffee. I had my morning coffee that was sitting here in my good old Buzz Lightyear mug. And I say that and it is actually empty. What if you guys have been playing Rivals, what's the team comp with you and your buddies? Do you guys have like a full 6 squad or how many people usually play? Because I know with me, like I said, solo queuing way too much. And after solo queuing, if I play with my buddies, a couple of them are very DPS heavy. So I feel like I'm constantly relegated to just being tank and support. But, you know, with Groot, I can't really complain. I love Groot. Oh, that's dope. That's got to make it a lot nicer. I feel like even just one random teammate or two random teammates who are just kind of like off doing nonsense. But yeah, I saw a couple people joined. Were those just people you randomly met or just found along the way? I know you are social butterfly 101, so I'm sure that could have been someone like you were like, oh, I was on the train, I met him. I farted out at Jewel and they said, hey, let's hang out. Mm. Old high school, making me feel old, reminding me that that was a handful of years ago for you. I feel like the older I've gotten, speaking of both gaming and me being old, the less like my old friends actually play. Like I've got my couple people that still, you know, like my regular friends from forever that we all still play games, but I feel like anybody now, like most of my friends as I've gotten older, I've seen have just like fallen off playing games. Or at least like online, you know. They've got kids, they've got whatever stuff going on, so I feel like they've been relegated to the single player life of when they have time. Or then they play multiplayer games, but they're so bad because they don't have time to actually learn the game or the matchups or any of that kind of stuff. Make his eye bigger. Better. For sure. You graduate then? I can't remember what your timeline was. Aren't you? I don't remember, man. I knew you were either very close or you just were about to. I can't remember. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought you had like a little chunk left. Where's blopping out color? What if we just put some watercolor in here to make him look better right now? Let's give him a bluish gray, right? Eh. Normal gray looks boring. Let's go bluish a little bit and just slap some down. It's always boring painting and drawing on like just like a super plain canvas like this doing line work. It's so much like immediately you look at this and you're like, oh, there's color. Like our brains are pretty stupid. And a little goes a long way with our lizard brains of just being like, hey, here's some color, have fun. That is pretty blue though. Let's drop it a little bit. Okay. Get some of that color. feel like you've got random facts, Joe, man. So like I was curious earlier, so on different animals in the water, there's this usually pretty common break in their color, right? It goes from gray to white, blue to gray, all those different things. I feel like that's a thing that probably has a name, don't you think? Like there's probably a scientific term for whatever that is, right? What is the break in color, scientifically speaking, from a vocabulary perspective? Asking for a friend. Got some color. Does it give him like a pink, very pink tongue? I was talking about the color, man. So like if we're looking at most animals, like aquatic species, they all have these breaks, right? Like in color. So Jeff goes from gray to white, gave him a little more blue here, but like gray to white, black, and different things like that. I feel like there's always a name for something in the scientific world. I feel like that's got to have a name, right? Like where the colors break on dolphins and sea creatures and stuff like that. I'd be curious what that word is because there's always something, right? And it's probably something that you couldn't even pronounce. Like, don't you think like there's always a weird thing? So it's got, I'm sure that is like, oh yeah, that's the, I feel like terminating somehow would be like the terminating whatever point. Ooh, that looks creepy kind of just giving him pure black there. Oopsies. Quickly need some shine in there or that's going to look dead. He's got them Funko Pop eyes real quick all of a sudden. Eesh. Little shine goes a long way. Play up that tongue too. Give it saturated pink. That's real dark. Nope, don't like that. I've been playing with watercolor brushes a lot more, but it's hard because like watercolor, you kind of commit to once you start putting the piece down, right? So like as soon as I put that down, if I go over it again, we're going to get another layer that looks darker. So I've been trying to practice to train my brain because I'm very etchy and sketchy and I move my crap way too much. So if I keep it with watercolor, I feel like it forces me to be more mindful of, you know, like each time I put something down and I make a stroke, I'm more mindful of what I'm doing. Beautiful. Kind of. Oof, man, some of my line work I've been sitting now using instead of my big Cintiq, like the really nice computer tablet and stuff that I use in the office for drawing. I'm using my iPad right now. My old jank broken iPad. And because I'm using that, I'm using just like a laptop stand right here in front of me instead of like my nice big display. And even when I draw with my iPad, I normally have like a big, it's called the sketchboard. It's like a huge drawing board, but I can't really use that at the desk. And so I've been like relegated to this weird iPad stand and I'm constantly like trying to find the sweet spot of both posture and like actual like smooth arm movement. One thing I feel a lot of people don't realize when you draw, people just think it's, oh, your wrist is moving, right? But it's a lot more shoulder and elbow than people think. So like getting this curve looks stupid because I couldn't swoop my arm the way I normally would. But again, just kind of cruising along right now to kind of get used to the posture and do something. It's fine enough. I saw you've been playing that, man. How's that been going? How does that even work? I guess is my question. I don't even understand. When you tell me Mario 64 co-op, my brain doesn't even compute. Like, as someone who was like 6 when that game came out, and my co-op was taking turns. Every time we died, we would just swap turns because me and my cousin had the game, and it would just be, oh, you couldn't make that jump. My turn. I'll try. So is it 2 people playing at the same time? Oh my gosh, these lines. Jeez. But like, so you're all in a single instance of the game, all playing as Mario? Damn. So kind of like the newer ones, the 2D, not 2D, but like the 3D side scrolly ones where you've got like multiple people. Can you interact with each other? Like, can I bop you? Like, if I'm playing as player 2 or whatever, can I bop you in the head and like mess up your movement? Okay. That seems hectic as fuck in a fun way. Does it actually work well? I guess would be my question too. I guess usually mods and crap like that sometimes are jank, but does it like function? Nice. Yeah, I saw you've been touting it for a while, getting people asking people to play. I haven't even I remember you talked about it a while ago back at the gym. You told me about it, and then honestly I forgot about it, not gonna lie. But yeah, I'll definitely. Okay, yeah, I was like, shoot me the link. I'll download it. It doesn't hurt to give it a shot. I miss playing. So like talking about like games with friends and stuff. Like I used to play games, different games, right? All the time. Like every week, me and my buddies would get a new game, try it out. Xbox Arcade, on Steam, whatever, like cheap games, expensive games, didn't matter. But like as we've gotten older, I feel like it's like, hey, do you want to play the one game we always play? No. No, I don't. Like I miss playing a whole breadth of games and stuff, so I'd be down to try other crap whenever. Which that's part of why I'm streaming right now. Even I want to get like one, I want to draw stuff. So the plan overall, I haven't really talked to you about it, but the game industry has been like imploding even more still. Like every couple weeks there's still more layoffs. They're not even like in the news anymore. And so I've kind of not cared to do that. So I'm going to swap back and actually shift gears and try and do like just this kind of stuff for the time with my free time. And the plan is to do actual YouTube content then too. So I'll be streaming here just to kind of get B-roll of like me drawing and doing different stuff like that probably. But then I want to do breakdowns of art stuff, whether it's, designs of the games, art styles, different skins and character breakdowns. But then also if I'm streaming, then I was like, oh, then I can actually make an excuse to play games middle of the day too. So that's where that's gonna come in. I think Tuesdays and Thursdays I've set aside for like my daytime play. So I'll actually stream every morning doing art, And then Tuesdays and Thursdays right now is the goal to kind of cruise along and just play games. Right now, it probably will be Rivals just because I've got a problem and I really want to keep playing that game. But it gives me like set time to actually play other things, not just like Fortnite that all my buddies play or, you know, something like that. But so yeah, so if you ever like Tuesday, Thursday, that's prime time. And if you want to hit me up too, Tuesday, Thursdays, I know you probably got school and work and all that kind of stuff like a normal human being. But Tuesday, Thursdays, 3 to 6, I think is what I've set for now. We'll see if I stick to that schedule or what. But that's the temporary goal is to that's game time, whereas 10:30 to 12:30 every day, excuse me, is going to be doing some art. And then yeah, dude, I'm down to do whatever. I love making this kind of stuff. I've been trying, like I said, you saw my setup. I've got so much stuff to do. I just kind of keep getting distracted with other stuff. Having the house didn't help, man. Like you haven't seen the house in a bit, but like even more stuff is set up. I've done so much stuff. And then the holidays are a killer because like if you saw the amount of stuff Amy and I have in this house for Christmas, you wouldn't guess it by seeing this because it looks like there's nothing here, right? But let me tell you, the rest of the house is Christmas. We've got, I think, 6 Christmas trees in the house because why not? And plenty of decorations. I've got like, yeah, just way too much stuff. And then Amy made stuff years ago for like my figures where like we decorate them for the holidays. They've got Christmas hats, Christmas sweaters, scarves. So then you've got like turtles with hats and scarves on and stuff. But like just that alone, man, like I've been cruising around redecorating the house for the holidays. And then we've got people been over. Like I said, man, I wanted to go to the arcade with you on Christmas. We've been with Amy's family. They live like 40 minutes from us, but then like an hour from my mom and dad. So when we're trying to do stuff with my mom and dad and her mom and dad and siblings and stuff like that, we're looking at like Christmas, man. Oh my God. Christmas was, what was it? Got up. We left the house at like 9:30, 10 o'clock every day for a few days, right? From like Christmas Eve till a few days past Christmas even. But like Christmas Eve, we got up at like 9:30, went over to her mom's house in St. Charles, which is like 40 minutes away. And then after that, we would go to my mom's house and help her set up for Christmas Eve, which was an hour drive. And then we'd have the Christmas Eve party there, which we went to my mom's house like days prior to help her set up too. Only to leave, dude. We left at 2:30 in the morning on Christmas Eve. I was so done. Only to start it again. On Christmas morning, we woke up and immediately went back to her family's. And then middle of the day, we went back to my mom and dad's. And then we got home Christmas Day at like 1:30 in the morning, I think. And then it just kept going. Then we're like, oh, well, then it's my mom's cousins on Friday or this and that, you know? And I'm just, holy cow, man. I'm looking forward to a boring weekend at this point. Like a boring weekend sounds fantastic. Which I guess speaking of not boring weekends, are you going to Frosty this year? I completely forgot with everything going on that's like a few weeks away at this point. Amy's the one who mentioned it to me. She's like, "Oh, are you going to that again this year?" I was like, "I forgot that existed at this point." I'm still debating, man. I'm glad you're going. If not, I can at least live vicariously through you, and you can post some pictures and let me know how it's going. I just, like I said, I've been like, I just want a boring weekend because even this upcoming weekend now is we've got big family party at my mom's on Saturday with other extended cousins on my dad's side, and then Sunday we do the round robin with her family because her little nieces were sick for Christmas. So what we do is we go to each person's house for the holidays as like a literal round robin. We'll go to each house. Each house has like, they've got breakfast, they've got snacks, they've got a movie, they've got, you know, different stuff to do at the houses. And it's fun to see everybody's decorations and all that kind of stuff. But also it's kind of a lot, especially since her family, like some live up by Six Flags up in Gurnee even. So it's a lot of driving and a lot of cruising around. So this weekend is packed on top of that. So with Frosty, just the end of this month, I'm like, son of a gun, man. I wish it was a little bit of a lull. So we'll see. The jury's still out on that one. How about Combo Breaker? I'm one of my best friend's wedding is that weekend for Combo Breaker, which that's a bummer. I'd rather go to Combo Breaker than Frosty. Just, I mean, it's bigger. It's usually got more oomph to it. But yeah, I know that's since I can't go to that. That's why part of me is like, well, I feel like I have to go to Frosty then, at least. If I can't go to Combo Breaker at all this year, it'll be nice. It's a big Indian wedding. So my best friend from when I was like itty bitty. He was my Dragon Ball buddy. We were in school and we bonded over Dragon Ball Z. And then he came over. I showed him all my like massive VHS collection of my Dragon Ball stuff in like 4th and 5th grade. It was 5th grade, I think, when he came over for the first time. And but yeah, so he's lived here in Illinois with right around me pretty much his whole life too. But he's getting married in May, and I've got to be down in Florida then for that, which is right on Combo Breaker weekend. I was like, you sure you don't want to move that? He said no. Rude. Are you going to be competing in either? Like, are you actually registering to play in either of those, or are you just kind of spectating? I'm terrible at games when it comes to fighting games. I feel like competitively. Doing just Tekken, or are you going more than Tekken? I know that's your. I know you Street Fighter too, but I feel like Tekken's more your jam. Yeah. Oh, there's not. We are they gonna have Rivals of Aether, or what? Are they gonna have some sort of something? That's wild. I feel like yeah, Smash has become like an institution in all FGC things. I feel like they always squeeze them in, especially here in the Midwest. I feel like there's always a lot of love for the Smash community. I think y'all are nerds. I can't get it, but I respect it. Yeah, Rivals of Aether came out, and I was so stoked for that. But then I was quickly reminded how bad I am. Like real quickly, like reality check times 100, man. Like, whew, that was rough. I had fun with it for the first like couple weeks, but like, those are just not the games that my brain jives with usually. As much as I love playing them, but like again, like Street Fighter, if I buckle down, sure I could play that competitively if I want, like more seriously. But I feel like Smash and that kind of stuff is always like my brain is not wired for that kind of movement and wave dashing and all that kind of stuff. I'm just too old. Funny, I went from Rivals of Aether, loving Orcane, right? Everybody loved Orcane. That little guy was adorable, and he was like my favorite to play as. I love dropping that puddle. and using that a lot. But then it's funny going from Rivals of Aether with my dolphin, little orca whale creature to now Rivals, a different Rivals with another aquatic creature very similar. Like I even have, oh man, what is it? I drew my little Orcane when it came out, and I'm like, man, that I could easily just redraw that and be like, look, it's Jeff. Just change the proportions, and it could basically be change the proportions, make the head way bigger, give it smaller butt, smaller tail, different type of tail, give him a collar, done. It's Jeff. I wonder what the pattern, this little Z shape, looks like. It reminds me of the Tetris piece. If that's supposed to mean something. I don't remember that ever. Like I said, in the comics, Jeff doesn't even wear a collar, really. I've never seen it. I wonder if that's just a cute little thing or if that actually represents something. Don't know. We get rid of the sketch. Wow, look at that. It's Jefford with a really thick ass. I don't know why I gave him such a heavy-handed line here for that. Again, man, this posture is killing me on this desk here with the iPad. I was saying since I'm in here, I've got this antique in the other room, but I don't have recording equipment in the other room, which is the problem. So if I had like, you know, a nice mic and lighting in there, I'd be totally down to stream my art stuff in the office and the game stuff in here, the game room. But I cannot justify at the moment buying more equipment. Not really in the budget. The one thing in the comics is like, if you notice here and here, I guess too, but in the comics especially, there's no lines actually for his color break, the mystery word we never came up with. And I kind of like that look then. It makes it feel more organic. So I can soften up maybe that break so it looks more purposeful. Got a little bit going down on his leg. In the comics, I feel like his the color break around his legs is huge. Like it always curves it. So it's pretty curved here. But in the comics, if you see it always is really pronounced to really sell that like his big old fat round shape. need to give some color there, though. It looks weird right now that it's just white. I always hate all white backgrounds like this, and then having blank space like that. So I need to give them like a light gray instead of the white. I like how originally I was going to draw this. It was supposed to just be like a quick breakdown of like looking at the shape language of Jeff in the game and then comparing it to the comic and doing all that kind of stuff. But now I just got distracted. I was like, I'm just going to keep painting this little Jeff because why not? It's cold as hell out. My brain is like, I'll just stick doing this right now. Was it winter warning advisory or whatever it is right now, and it's been icy as heck. I always try and go for a walk every day. I am like this little Jeff, the little dog, where if I don't go for my walk, I get antsy. So I'm like, time to go for a walk. And when it feels like -8, or even right now when it feels like a teen, it's not as fun. Not as fun going for a walk, I tell you. But luckily, Amy got me a long jacket. Like, I've always had like normal North Face that like end at like, the waist, or like a big old sweatshirt. But she's like, no, man, we need to get you a jacket. I I don't care. She says yes. I say cool. Let's try it. But yeah, that's a game changer. Like long jackets that go like to your knees. I did not realize how much of a difference that little bit of covering, like you're just covering the quads and hamstrings. Boom, like so much warmer. I'll go for a walk now with like long socks, a hoodie, and that big old jacket. And I mean, yeah, I get cold. I'm human, but also it's crazy that I don't get nearly as cold as I used to just because that long ass jacket. So she's made me a believer. I always thought it seemed weird, like those big, huge jackets, but I can't go back now. That's all I want are those big old jackets. Yeah, I knew it was supposed to snow a little bit today, but then when I woke up and saw a lot of snow, not quite what I was expecting. But I more so felt bad because obviously I didn't have to drive anywhere. I'm sitting here. I'm not going anywhere right now. But obviously, Amy has to drive pretty far for work. No. Ooh, that looks creepy. That's why you don't zoom in. When you zoom in too much, you lose a little bit of what you're looking at sometimes when you zoom in too much. Looks creepy as hell. Trust me. It'll look cool later. Maybe. I don't know. I don't usually, like I said, new with my watercolor brushes trying to make it softer vibes. I always tell myself that when you're doing art, especially 3D stuff, when I'm sculpting, it looks like hot trash for the first like couple hours. It just looks like giant ass blobs. But it's always like, don't worry, it'll look better. And then when it doesn't, you feel like an idiot. I think just hardening up a couple shapes in here will go a long way. So let's go back. Dude, Blender's solid, man. I used it for a project years ago just to learn it, just to say I did, right? To kind of get my head around it. And it can do a metric crap ton of stuff that like I never realized for a free software like that. It's impressive. Yeah, I saw you guys hyping up new ideas for stuff. I could if you guys need help with stuff, I can totally give like some direction and guidance and like tips and tricks for stuff, but that's a big endeavor doing a whole game, but you guys definitely do have a whole chunk of talent in the server, that's for sure. So capitalizing on it is definitely something. Have you guys had much more discussion on it? Like even like I feel like usually the platformers and stuff like that usually are a little more straightforward to monkey with as like starting stuff. But it's crazy the amount of resources available. So like when I was in high school, my buddy was a programmer. He worked for Sony. He's now working at Riot Games, I think, is the last place he's been at. And I remember when we were younger, him and I went to go make a game together, and we're like, "Yeah, it's gonna be great. We got this." And it's just crazy that like obviously early YouTube did not have the tools. We didn't have the free software like Blender. You had to pirate some crap, and you had to, it was a lot different landscape than it is today. That's for sure. Which is cool. I'm glad it is different. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more approachable, which is how everything should be, frankly. Okay. That would be kind of cool vibes. Like a squad based game then, so you'd be playing like an adventure game but still just like a solo player, or would you like swap between characters then, you're thinking? I always love that. There's something about being able to change characters in games that I'm just like sold. It just gets me happy. What was it like? Even the old Castlevania. There was like the DS games on Castlevania. I can't remember which was which at this point. But yeah, there was one where you could swap between, like the one male and female characters, and they had like the one was more like her book of spells, and the other was more like Belmonte with his, like more physical weapons and stuff. But like somehow you let me swap a character in a game, you've already sold me halfway. Like I'm a simple man when it comes to that. His eye is looking creepy. I don't like it. If we darken the hell out of it. Nice, get at it, man. I haven't been to the gym physically, like I said, since before the holidays now. I need to get back, but apparently I can't go back to the old gym, but I'm sure I'll catch you at the gym sometime again, man. Have a good one. Kick some ass for me, all right? Later, man. Not much is changing with these eyes. I don't know why I focused on the eyes so much just now. They look kind of dumb. Anyway. Oh well. We saturate them and then darken them. Ooh. I think it's because they don't have anything else that's dark in the painting right now, so it just looks ugly. So if I start adding some shadows and stuff, I bet it'll look fine. Or not, or it'll look terrible. We'll find out. A very gray color. Swap the background right now too. Let's make it like an off purple. I forget it's watercolor, so it definitely changes the look of the color underneath. Doop, 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 doop. Why does that look weird? All right. What is this? Give some gray. Too dark. I kind of had music playing, didn't I? You guys can hear the music. I dropped my headphones earlier because I didn't care. But what are we listening to even? What do we got? How do I... Boop. Let me hear it again. Oh, dope. We got some Muse playing. Cool beans. It's already getting pretty late, isn't it? Whew, it's already 12:15. Time flies when you have no clue what you're doing and you're chatting with a good bud. Okay, so let's paint, what are we on? New layer for his slightly gray. This will help with the eyes too, because it's just, his body's so white right now that the contrast of the white with the black of his eyes just is kind of horrifying. Not the way I want it. A little bit down here. Now we need to darken up his blues. So let's hit him with, he's got like grays, but we're coloring a little darker color. So keep it the blue color, a little gray. Little tip is always, a lot of people will drop down. So let's be like, oh, let's make it darker. But one of the things that makes shadows and darker colors feel a little more impactful is when you saturate them. So instead of, like, imagine we've got, oops, this went back. So imagine we're sitting here with this color, right? This bluish gray. A lot of people be like, let's go darker. And you go down here. Go down here. So you're not just darkening the color, you're usually desaturating it that way. But if you're looking at like a color block like this, you go to the right, you're going to pull a little bit more saturation, which makes that color just feel more natural when you're painting with it. So if you're coloring with just a darker color, it's going to just feel lifeless, I guess, would be the best way of putting it. Whereas if you add that little bit of saturation when you're swapping between, it helps sell it. Do I know why? No. Should you trust me? I mean, you can. But yeah, adding that little bit does help for sure. Because I feel like already there, these colors are a little more noteworthy. Okay, so let's say we're gonna paint some shadows on our. Let's kind of play with that style that they've got anyway, right? Just be more playful and light-handed, and just kind of swap some. Let's add the detail brush. How does this look again? Cool. Chunk it up, make it thick, and we got light source coming from here. And the way Rivals is, they've got like always an edge light to kind of bounce off and keep a character really pronounced. So if you see here, they've got like hard light here, which works, but not for shadow. So let's just kind of block in some light shadow space and kind of play with that and see how that feels. Lots of shadow on the fin for sure back here. I'll erase the edges when I care to, which is not now. Got like a little bit from the collar, right? A little heavy shadow there. You've got some shadow on his butt because since he's like that big hot dog shape, like we said, his butt, like his hips are pretty much in shadow then because there's not much else for it to go for the light. I don't like this color here, this line. I should get rid of it. But okay. I'll do that in a second. As you go through, you'll notice, at least I do, when I go through, I always notice more that I don't like as I start adding some values and colors to it. So like the line work, I've noticed a few things that don't really make sense. So like right here, this like hip piece doesn't really make sense. If anything, I'd rather have like a back and his tail can just go into the butt. Like, cause they were looking at Rivals even, they're like I said, they get rid of a lot of the interior lines to help the colors just pop a little better. So we can do that here too, but we'll get to that in a sec. I usually like to just kind of block in some shadows first when I'm coloring, just because it sells it, right? If something has shadow, suddenly it feels grounded in the space. Whereas if you are constantly, let's lighten this up a lot. If you are constantly just looking at things in one way without shadow, man, that looks ugly then, right? Because it doesn't feel like it exists in a space. Sometimes like indie games in particular, like I'll watch, indie devs and stuff. One of the things that I feel like that goes such a long way, easiest change, right? But such a long beneficial change. Just drop shadows on the characters. Like sometimes games don't have good lighting, so their physical placement in space don't have shadows. And that just feels weird. And don't get me started on people when they play competitive games and they turn off shadows and turn off all that stuff for what they say is a competitive advantage. Do I play games competitively? Absolutely. Do I like to win? 100%. Do I want my game to look cool still though? Yeah. I'm gonna keep shadows on. I'm gonna crank my game to look as good as it can so long as I'm hitting stable frame rates. Getting rid of the visual appeal of games just to be more efficient or like an advantage drives me bonkers. Like, man, as an artist, it drives me bonkers at least. Because it's like, that's like my thing, man. You make it look cool. Don't make it look ugly, please. I forgot I never drew more teeth on Jeff, so he looks kind of weird right now with his teeth. So let's get back to the actual like drawing real quick, like the line work. and do some fixes that we saw. So one of the fixes is that like his mouth feels very weird. I don't like this cartoony line necessarily. The way that they do it is much more of a continuation like that, which makes it look a little more. I kind of like that just being like a singular shape. I was giving too much detail to it. And then here, I feel like there's not enough of a break in his head. Like, so they've got a really stark line, and let's kind of play with that too. So if we go from the collar, there's going to be like a fold that's happening underneath the jowl, right? That helps sell that fold a little better. Yeah, not great, but better. Oof, like I said, man, this angle is killing me. I need to get some sort of better posture with this, because this is I wonder if I can use the sketch board, so the big board that I use, but also put it on the iPad stand then. It's like best of both worlds, maybe. Using, not sure. I'll monkey with it more as time goes on. But ooh, man. What are we listening to right now? What is this? Alien Ant Farm. I haven't heard that in quite some time. Okay. Jeff's looking pretty cute though, right? I like it. He looks like Jeff. Let's give him more teeth now though, right? So they just keep going, right? But since we're doing like this watercolor lighter approach, I don't want like to give too much detail. Sometimes leaving detail out helps sell stuff, depending on the style. So if we're working with something like this, like we're not mirroring Marvel Rivals right now, kind of, but like we're not trying to do it in that exact style. And since we're not having too many lines and too much trying to sell the idea with dark lines, it gets ugly. Whereas in here, since we're doing more watercolor, if we just kind of give some general shapes to the teeth, I feel like that'll help. So I'm not like terminating down below. So like if we were to do something like this, right, is what I'm saying. So if I were to cut each tooth off fully, that'll start looking busy, right? Especially in the style. So if we look at this, we're like, wow, this got really busy real quick. But if you keep it loose, that's a little better. He also looks like he's got like a little bit of tooth visible down here. Just a little. That means we'll need to get rid of the pink of the tongue. Okay, so that feels like a little more natural. Okay. And then we need to add a collar color, because right now the collar feels like it's standing out by being super white. So let's get the fill. It's just a bright yellow, right? Yeah. Playful, bright. A little more goldish. So the difference between golds and yellows that a lot of people have a hard time with is that when you break down gold, it actually has brown. It doesn't make sense when your brain thinks of gold, but the shadows that are usually really hard on gold are generally brown colors. So how we can differentiate this yellow from the gold is by making a playful, like saturated bright yellow, let's say, for the collar itself. That is a small brush. What did I do? Am I on the fill? No, that would help. On the right layer. So if we give it like a brighter, playful yellow, it'll feel yellow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some orange and browns then to the dog tag itself. And then with that, it'll feel more like gold and a different piece of equipment or of material. So here, though, we want to really sell that this is a chunky thing. So what if we just make like a nice white here? Brighten. Not really brightening it up much. Pure white on the watercolor here. Give that really strong highlight, which isn't even that strong. What if we do the detailer brush instead with white? Bum, 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 ba-dum. Okay, and then we'll add some shadow. I have my watercolor shadow. I said saturate and darker, which saturating too much in yellows, spoiler alert, becomes poop. Darkened saturated yellows is a very fine line between a good looking color and baby puke. I don't want baby puke. I mean, I don't know who does, but in this instance in particular, I definitely do not want any baby puke. So I might need to tone and pull this back, but one way to sell plane changes is to really highlight and shadow the edges. So here we've got an edge. And by contrasting it with that darker color right away, it feels immediately more plane shifty, right? Because we're going from one extreme to the other, so your eye catches that. Let's add some of those playful pinks, though, because I feel like that helps, right? Let's give it that pink. The details that, again, if anybody knows what these shapes mean, hit me up. Let me know. Because I have no clue. But I like it. It's not very pink, is it? Getting a hot pink with watercolors a little, especially since it's on this yellow. That's good enough for now. It's being very basic. It doesn't really need to be too much right now. I'm just trying to get a little bit of colors because it was starting to look very baby pukey with the dark color. So giving a little bit of this pink will hopefully not make it hideous. But then we need to do the white on top, which almost should be more of an eraser. White watercolor doesn't really work. So what we can do is budget, and we can pull like just a soft brush, maybe a real soft brush. No, I don't like that. What if we do I don't feel like grabbing any other brushes than what I have here. What does it look like if we do like an actual fill on here? No, maybe. I kind of don't mind playing with like hard. I do always like that, like watercolor with a nice hard edge, then it weirdly cleans it. But not right now. Let's color in our dog tag. So like we said, let's go. It's so you want to start for gold a little more orange than yellow. So if we pull in that little bit, and like I said, what you do is you add a little bit of brown for the shadows, and that is definitely going to help sell it being a gold rather than just an off-color yellow. So here we got yellowish gold. And then since we are working with watercolor, we can just kind of add a little bit more here of color, darken this a little bit. But I'm still going to want to go and add actually like a pop of brown to the harder shadows and really help sell it. So it'll be browns and then just a white pop. So let's go down, more brown, dark brown. Let's see how this looks. Do more of the detail. Really in that ambient occlusion where it's like that dark shadow fully. Nice. So we'll do a little bit of brown. A little more yellow. So I used to work for casino games. Oh, that's way too yellowish brown. And let me tell you, the amount of gold crap we had to make. Casino games love their gold. As a 3D artist, though, I was pretty lazy because I could just make gold materials and apply them that way. Here, I'm trying to quickly paint a gold, which painting in watercolor, like I said, is a very different energy than I'm used to. So we are learning together. Jeff, how is he looking? Is he looking cute? Not bad. This guy's still throwing me off. His mouth feels really... Let's go back to the line work. And liquefy this little guy. Oh, too big of a brush. Just this. This is all I want. Liquefy, am I right? Solves all of world's problems. At least in art. While we're here, let's stretch out this tongue a little more then. Boop. Wonderful. And if you remember, I said we need to get rid of this butt line. Nobody wants a butt line. We can add another butt line from the top, though, if we want to have some sort of edge. So, kind of here, right? Oh, that's really thick. Just a slight... but then it looks weird with this continuing. So, the idea is that it's folding over, right? So if that shape is curving there, it's not going to just mindlessly continue. It's essentially behind this space now, or this space now. I forget you can't see the stylus that I'm actually using. Adorable. Little Jeff. Okay, let's play with, now that I adjusted the shapes, let's get some quick fix on this mouth, because this looks really stupid now. We'll just redo entirely. I don't need to worry too much about that. We can always kind of just smudge the edges to give a little bit more fill in that space. But here we can actually like paint this in if we want. Make it a little smaller though. And then just kind of come in here with this red. So I want to make the whole mouth inside red though right now, because at the moment the mouth feels weird. So I want to go from the tongue to what will be presumably a much like deeper red. So let's cut in. What is this gonna look like? Is that too dark? Yeah, that looks stupid. We want to keep it red and like a more saturated. So if we pop that up a little. That, I can work with that. Fill in the space where the teeth would be terminating without drawing the lines. So see that it's like a cleaner, like less detail. Like obviously the teeth need to terminate, but with the watercolor, if you put a black line there, it's gonna look ugly pretty quick. So let's darken up the more of the inner ridge of his mouth here. Is Creed? It is. Oh crap, I looked away and held it too long. Okay, well, here's some more bright watercolors just slapping on. I'm kind of liking this watercolor vibe. It's much more freeing and like organic to play with these colors. Like a lot more organic. Because as soon as I want something different, you just kind of paint it on. There's no like, yeah, I like this. I think I'll be sticking with more watercolors moving forward. It just feels better. And it quickly illustrates the point without having to get like, I don't know. I feel like everything I used to do looks really hard. So when you get too hard, it loses its organic feeling. Whereas with this, you're baking in already texture by doing nothing. By literally just slapping your stroke down, you're getting texture. I don't have to add a new layer. I don't have to do some anything. I just say, hey, look, there's texture to his tongue because there's texture to his tongue. There's no other legwork needed. You get so basically you get a lot for a little. And as someone who's trying to get quicker, I feel like that'll help. Spoiler alert, I'm a watercolor a lot more now. GF. Hey man, speaking of liquefy, man, I have a problem. I really do. I cannot not liquefy things, apparently. He needs to get like a little fatter down here. Just a little. Much better. Much better. Look at that little guy. Adorable. But we will also, since we're here, this is my last liquefy. I promise. I promise. Nobody, don't hold me to that. Like, whatever you do, don't hold me to the fact that I said that. But also, it's the last time, I swear. Ooh. So what are we looking at now? We have, oh gosh, it's already almost 1 o'clock. Okay. Cool. He's looking pretty cute. I think that's a good spot to stop because I'm getting really hungry. And it is past the stream time that I wanted. Oh, wait, no, I lied. I was going to fix the tongue. Let me fix the tongue. Because if I get back on tomorrow and fix this guy and I do something with Liquify, I'll be a bold liar. I think we're just going to get rid of this line in the middle, actually. Yeah, we're just going to get rid of it. Cool. Goodbye. Psych. We'll do a really thin one. That real thin. Okay. But now I need to liquefy the tongue real quick. This is all the same liquefy, essentially. I'm not counting this different, so you shouldn't either. Trust me. Just liquefying the tongue back in. Cool. And then liquefying the collar back in. What would we do without liquefy? Redo a lot of crap. That's what. And he came into the window. Cute, cute, cute. This line's okay. I'm not liquefying. I'm just actually drawing. Line is dumb. Now it's less dumb, but still kind of dumb. That's okay. Cool. That's Jeff. Who's criminal? Okay. Well, I think on that note, seeing as it's almost 1 o'clock, I'm hungry. I don't know about you guys. I am hungry. Jeff's looking cute enough. We analyzed what Jeff looks like. Tomorrow morning, I think I will go through then and we can definitely play with Jeff some more. Play with his colors, play with a little bit more overall stuff. And then I'll probably post Jeff tomorrow. Just a cute little guy. Cute little Jeff. Get him out in the world. And then we can play with more stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow, keep in mind, I will be gaming at 3 o'clock as well as art. But as usual then, if you guys want to keep up, we can draw together. We can make some cool stuff. We can play around with games, play around with art. I will be back tomorrow and add some more to little Jeff, get him posted, and maybe start then a style version of the comic and play with a couple like quicker ones. This one was definitely a longer one that we're sitting here messing with still, but tomorrow we'll do a quick bunch of little comic book Jeffs, and then we can kind of compare the energy between them. But until then, be kind and kick butt.